Hey, what's going on? I'm here today. My name's John. Hey, what's up? Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I had to restart YouTube real quick. So sorry about that. My initial stream was not working for some reason. So just had to restart YouTube. Anyways, there's one tab here I gotta close. There we go. How's everybody doing? I should be sorry. You know what, Pat? You should be sorry. You're not here. You should be here. You weren't here on Friday. I mean, what even is this show anymore? I get hate mail regularly. They're like, "Where's Pat?" And I'm like, "I don't know. He's tired of this shit. He's tired of my nonsense. He's tired of me constantly telling him that the record label is breathing down his neck. That's why he quit New Pants. I'm just saying." No, it's all good. I'm just giving you. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing a little bit. Whenever you're ready, if you want to come on Friday, you're more than welcome to. If not, I might take my shirt off and play some guitar, because that's what gets people to the show is shirtless John. It's one of those things where you have to see it on camera, because if you see it in real life, you actually will go blind. So you need a buffer, a camera lens for a buffer. You know what I mean? Anyways, what's going on? I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for today. But before we get started with everything, don't forget to check out wilddinosaur.com. It's been updated recently. There's some new designs there. I'm going to be working on a new commercial here relatively soon. Oh, I just remembered as I was saying that I need to buy some shirts. I need to get one for Pat and one for myself. So I'm going to be doing an order pretty soon. So you should too. You should buy some stuff from the store. There's a bunch of t-shirts, sweatshirts. I don't have my tote bag with me, but there's great tote bags. Pat stole one from me. He was like, "Yo, can I borrow this I don't just put some music gear in so I can, he's got my TR-8S drum machine right now, and he's like, "Oh, can I put it in there? It's raining outside." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then he ghosted me, and I'm not ever gonna see that tote bag again. Wait. Can't hear me over it? What do you mean? Is my audio messed up or something? Well, OBS looks good. Sorry, I don't know if you're making a joke about something else because I'm stupid and it's but I also did have some technical difficulties here earlier, so I'm just... My audio okay? My audio okay? Am I good? What is this? What? Oh, I know what that is. Stupid. Is my audio okay though, Pat? Can't hear you over it. Can't hear me over what? I'm actually curious. I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna text Pat. I'm doing it. Yeah, I just texted you. Am I hold on. I know a good way to test the audio too. I think. Man. Was that the background noise? Pat said there was some background noise. Huh. I'm gonna have to listen to this back then. Anyways, okay, all good now. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. So what am I up to today? Oh, I don't know. Just I had lunch with old. Why do I throw out old? Friend of mine, Dusty, and another coworker, past coworker of ours. It was great to see both of them today. Apparently, Dusty had some of my comics that I forgot I had loaned him. Let's see, what did I don't remember what I'd loaned him, so I want to look at them real quick. Oh, it's the Vader series. I had the first 3. There was this one, the Darth Vader one. This one's awesome. And Shadows and Secrets. If you're not familiar with Dr. Aphra, this is Dr. Aphra. She is awesome. She's a great new character. I do hope to see her in live action at some point. She's essentially I always go for she's like the female Indiana Han Solo. She's more like Indiana Jones. She's an archaeologist. She's worked with obviously Vader, but these 2 droids here in the back are I forget their names, but they're basically murderous versions of R2 and C-3PO. They're really freaking sweet characters. It's been a while since I looked at this. Are these the same ones as the hardback that I have? Oh, and then there's the third one, Shuturan War. I don't know if I remember this one. I need to reread these. Oh wait, this is Legends. Is this Legends? No. Hold on. Is this Legends? No. No, this is part of, I thought it was Legends for a second because it looked like the Solo twins on the back. If you're not familiar with the Solo twins, they're from Legends. Han and Leia had twins, and well, they actually had 3 kids. I think it was 3 total, but the first 2, Jason and Jaina Solo, and they both end up getting trained by Luke. Yeah, oh yeah. This is the other one that I have. Wait, 1 through 12? Yeah, I think I have duplicates here. Oh, okay. User error. Just kidding. I hate that term, user error. It's so condescending. I'll deal with putting those away later. Can you hear this, Pat? It's my hands down favorite soundbite. Oh, monitor's still on too. Damn, today is going well. I mean, hey, it's it's Wednesday, but it's Monday for Jon Does. I haven't even started talking about anything. We're like 15 minutes into this already. I did have a couple minutes there of technical issues, which I do feel bad about, Pat. I am sorry, and I apologize. I won't ever be late again. If I'm late, I will just cancel the show. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I did do that, I think, like the first week I started streaming. I had computer issues, and it ultimately was like a computer restart I needed to do, which took like, my computer's a little slow, so it took like 10 minutes. But I think I canceled the show because I was like, freaking out, trying to get the technical stuff done. But, oh, yeah, okay. So I have some things to talk about. We'll have a more, in-depth segment after the break. But before that, there was I wanted to do a little bit of entertainment news. I haven't really done a lot of entertainment stuff in a while, which is fine. I really don't want to make this channel like the movie news channel because I get bored of it. I don't want to just be that channel. I'm an artist, you know. I want to use my show to promote and premiere stuff, but also talk about stuff that are things that influence me in movies, TV, music, all that stuff. I consume regularly, so I do want to talk about those things, but I don't want to make this the channel where I just talk about this stuff. So if you haven't noticed, I've been doing more stuff. Friday, when Pat wasn't here, I did some live jamming with my guitar. I finally got a little, not that I got anything new, I just finally was able to make the space to put a microphone next to my guitar amp, which isn't usually how I record stuff. Well, it hasn't been for a while. But yeah, so I got a mic up next to the guitar amp. Maybe one of these days I'll do an edited video where I go through music gear or something like that for one of these episodes. But yeah, so music stuff and art stuff. I mean, you guys saw that Pat and I did I did the 100th episode, which was super fun. And then after that, we had our New Pants 2 album listening party, which was really fun. Stuff like that. I'm enjoying not having to necessarily stick to one topic. However, I do like some of this stuff, like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that, and I will try to keep it to a minimum. I know there's not everybody wants to listen to that, and especially like Phase 4 has not been good for Marvel overall in a lot of fan eyes. So I'm not trying to do full episodes about Miss Marvel or She-Hulk or anything like that so much these days, because I'm doing a lot of other things, and I'm trying to do more. So yeah, I don't know. I like having fun with these shows and talking about all kinds of stuff. But today there's a little bit of entertainment news, and the first thing, well, I guess this is the only real news, and we'll kind of talk about. I'll give you non-spoilery recaps of the 2 Star Wars episodes that came out yesterday. And if you're confused why I said 2, there was a new Mandalorian episode and there's a new Bad Batch episode. And we'll talk about those both shortly. But the first news I wanted to get into, it's all Lucasfilm related today. There was news that there was a Disney Plus series that got canceled. It's not getting a second season. And if you're familiar, if you've put 2 and 2 together, what's the one other thing? There's 2 other properties that Lucasfilm is dealing with. One of them is Indiana Jones, which the new movie will be out. But the other one was Willow, and Willow got canceled. Willow is not coming back for season 2, which I have two conflicting feelings about that. Now, first of all, if you watched any of those episodes where I talked about the Willow series, you know that I was not really into it. I wanted to be really bad. I really wanted that show to work well. And it didn't. But I do think they left themselves in a position where if they were going to do a season 2, you could retool some things without breaking what they've already established. And course correcting a little bit. I think they gave themselves an opportunity to course correct. Now, saying that, this is a TV show based off of a financially, I don't know if it's financially disastrous, but it didn't do well. It became a cult classic movie, so it already was based on something that didn't have the financial legacy behind it, like a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones, for example. But I do think there was stuff there. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. I love that. That's kind of my jam typically when it comes to stuff that I like to absorb. And I just thought that season 1 was a weak fantasy show, but there was enough to play around with in that universe that had they maybe put a little bit, I hate to say that, put more effort in, because I'm sure there was hundreds of people that put a lot of effort into making that first season, but I mean more on the writing end of plan it out a little bit better. I mean, if you're coming from being a fan of the movie, which, you know, we're few and far between. There's not a lot of people that love Willow the movie. Like, again, I said it's a cult classic, and you know, doing things like the trolls, for example. The trolls are not the same trolls that you see in the movie. Now, I get it. They're trying to do something where, like, well, there's these trolls and then these trolls, and these trolls are like, you know, hey, can't you see him walking here? You know, like, that's kind of what they did, is change things up in ways that I didn't think were necessary or worked. Just use what you have already in front of you and progress in the ways that make sense. Like, I didn't need a new troll. You could have just given me trolls and they're, you know, become a foil for an episode or two, or maybe they are part of a bigger plot line, but they were just like comical. They were used to introduce a character who we thought was going to be a big part. Spoiler alert for Willow real quick. I don't think you should give a shit though. Mad Mardigan, who's played by Val Kilmer in the original movie, obviously he's not doing well health-wise, and so he didn't make any appearance in Willow. But they did get a replacement who was supposedly a friend of Mad Mardigan, and that was Christian Slater. They brought him in, and I remember hearing that he was going to be in it. He was going to play a big role regarding that was attached to the Mad Mardigan character. I didn't know if it was a recast or anything. And the way that they played that just sucked. They brought him in for one episode, and that was it. There was no... It felt like there was no character progression. He was just there to spout a thing or two to one or two characters, and then move on. But I didn't feel any, I don't know, I just didn't feel it worked very well. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that with what was set up in the Willow universe, that it doesn't look like we're going back anytime soon. That being said, I did not really care for what was presented in this latest iteration of Willow. So Disney's canceled it. We're not getting a season 2. Kind of a bummer. I think it's more of a bummer for Lucasfilm, because Lucasfilm, I do really think, needs to expand a little bit more than just Star Wars. I mean, of course we're getting Indiana Jones. We did have Willow. That didn't work out so well. But yeah, I don't know. I just... I would like to see more Lucasfilm produced things, especially because their history and how they've made films. Like, Willow was one of those things, one of those films that I think was a perfect conception for Lucasfilm, because it had that blending of live action and puppetry and animatronics and stuff like that. It was that 80s feel of live action monsters and stuff like that. I love that. I mean, I don't dislike CG. CG is used so much, and you could have debates on what is and what isn't CG these days. I mean, I heard, spoiler alert, for The Last of Us. It's not a big story point. There is a scene with a giraffe. That's all I need to say. There's a scene with a giraffe, and there's been a big debate since that finale episode about whether that giraffe was CG or not. Turns out it's a real giraffe. I actually thought it was CG when I watched it. It's a real giraffe. They did put out a behind the scenes of that, and so I was kind of surprised by that. But there's a big conversation to be had about, like, the validity of CG and how well it works today. I do think there's something off about it. I'm not down on CG at all. I think it just needs to progress and used sparingly or in the right ways. You know, I feel like we all make fun of the Scorpion King. You know, that movie came out and the CG was really bad. And I feel like Hollywood has just been like trying to refine the Scorpion King. Not just the, you know, Universal as a studio who put out the Scorpion King, but every studio, they're like, you know, we just got to make sure everybody knows CG is really good. And it's like, why don't you just put a real like Henson puppet in there or something? I know that costs money, but so does making something graphically. I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to get into this conversation today of what's better, but I do think for something, Lucasfilm I think has a bit of an expectation, because all of the properties that have been anything, Willow included, all had that. There are graphics in there. Star Wars had graphics in there. The lightsabers light up and stuff like that. The magic being used in the old Willow, there's graphics, but there's also the real monsters and stuff like that. Some of that is missing in some of these big budget things, and unfortunately, I just think it becomes a money thing, and I don't know. I do think that maybe utilizing more practical effects in film might even help. This is a larger issue, and I don't have facts one way or another on this, but there is a big problem of computer graphics in Hollywood. You know, overworked, underpaid, and there's so much content being made these days that they just have to churn stuff out. And I do think that, like, you know, making an effort to plan out where you're going to put your CG and maybe put a little bit more money into practical stuff. Again, I'm not trying to have this conversation necessarily today, because I think there is room for both, practical and CG. I don't know. I get a little tired of seeing like every monster in a movie looking CG. There's some reviews coming out of Dungeons and Dragons, which looks really silly. I'm hearing really good things about it. It's just dumb fun. That is a movie that, even though it looks fun, I want to see it. I want it to do well. I do think that it does also suffer a little bit of like every monster in there. It looks like it's just like a CG, more refined version of the Scorpion King, you know? So anyways, Willow is canceled. That was the news there. I didn't have a graphic for that. Usually when I use this background instead of doing the full screen, you know, I'm going to try to drop graphics. But let's see, what do I want to do next? We're moving into the shows that came out yesterday. Again, these are going to be non-spoiler. I don't want to. I know, Pat, if you're still watching, you probably haven't watched Mandalorian yet. I'm not going to spoil anything story-wise. What I will say about this episode is it's still man. I have heard some people say they didn't like this episode. I disagree. It is a bit disjointed in the way that those Boba Fett episodes that turned into Mandalorian episodes felt a little disjointed, where all of a sudden you're like, wait, am I watching Boba Fett or the Mandalorian? There was some moments where I felt like, am I watching the Mandalorian or am I watching Andor? Which is really interesting how they went about that. Again, I don't want to say too much, but that was the vibe I got. It's like part of it. It's like bookended. It's like you start off, and you get some answers from last week, and you see a little bit more, and then it goes into this whole other story until the end, and you're like, whoa, what just happened here? What just happened here? I thought it was really well done. I do think maybe editing was the problem for me in that, and I think it just comes down to the fact of like, you're either going to like how the balance of this episode was or you're not. I don't think there's too many like in the middle opinions on that. I don't know, maybe there are, maybe I'm wrong. but there was some serious Andor vibes in this. I wouldn't be surprised. There's one spot I thought they actually used the Andor set. I don't think they did though. But this is I think this is a good episode, and I think this is going to be an important episode for the rest of the season. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, just like to put myself in the right position there. So, Mando, I'm going to step away from that because, again, I don't want to give too much away narratively, other than it is a weirdly balanced episode, and I don't know if everybody's going to like it, but I enjoyed it, and all I can say is I can't wait till next week's episode. This is that show for me. This is one of those shows for me. I really love all of the stuff that this show is doing. It fulfills the, for me, Andor was a good example of the alternative in Star Wars. Mandalorian covers like mythology and even history that's not, totally known within Star Wars canon. And it is interesting. There's that there's not just the science fiction element, but there's more of that fantasy element, like the Jedi live in this, for us, it would be a science fiction world, but then they have this mythology around them, which brings it into more fantasy. And the Mandalorian does that for me. And then Andor, you actually just see this universe. You see how, raw and hard it is when you're not, when you're not one of these main characters, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, any of these, main characters that we've known through the movies. Excuse me. You get more of just like what everyday people have to deal with in this universe. And I don't know. Those to me are the two good balances in Star Wars right now. And this episode, if you're looking for one or the other, you might feel offset with how this episode goes. But again, I do think. Let me say something real quick regarding Star Wars as a franchise. They made some decisions in The Rise of Skywalker that they have been trying to fix through books and video games and comics since that movie came out. And I think this episode is a really big step for the mainstream audience to see to rectify that some of those choices. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about that. Shoot, I didn't. I was like, I have graphics for things, and then didn't use them. Well, now we'll talk about Bad Batch. We'll move away from Mando. Moving away from Mando, getting into Bad Batch. This show has irritated me all season. I want to stay involved in certain things in Star Wars, and I have for a while. I think there is now. I think we're now in the point with Disney-owned Star Wars where I have to pick and choose a little bit better. And I don't know if I'm going to continue watching The Bad Batch. I just don't feel this season at all. This episode is maybe the most important episode so far. But out of a show that has 16 episodes, this is episode 13. And we finally have, it feels like, some sort of development. There was small things through the first little bit of this season that I think made you care about a specific character or whatever. But and I know I'm not the only one that has complained about these things, but it felt like it was just doing nothing for a long time. But this episode is I don't know if it's my favorite. I need to rethink about I need to rethink or review the previous episodes. I mean, I've been so unimpressed by this. It's hard to think about all of the episodes so far. Maybe the first one that they introduced, what's her name? Wanda Sykes' character. I can't remember her name now. That was a fun episode. I think I enjoyed that one. It gave it was still Adventure of the Week, but it was also a little out of step for all of the other episodes of the week. You know, it felt like I don't know if I'm explaining this very well on my end. This episode, while it might not be my favorite, I do think it was the most important so far in development for this crew. I just don't know that I can keep up with this too much. I'm just not getting much from it, you know. Again, a show that has 16 episodes, I feel like there's been very, very little development up until episode 13. It's just Adventure of the Week thing, and I'm kind of over it. I'm okay with I was thinking about this earlier. I remember last season of Mandalorian getting annoyed with the Ice Spider episode because I was like, it's a fine episode. It felt like a filler episode. I get less irritated now when I think about shows like The Mandalorian or Andor or whatever, feeling like, for lack of a better term, filler episodes, because they always end up meaning something. The Ice Spiders one was an Adventure of the Week. They were trying to get from one place to another, but that other place put him in a position where, you know, he met huge characters. Bo-Katan is where we first meet her after he drops off the Frog Lady in season 2. So you get a resolution to a degree when you have a show with, what is it, 6 to 8 episodes that most of the Star Wars live action stuff has been doing, aside from Andor. Andor had 12, but I think they're all 6 if I remember. So like I think already halfway through Mandalorian. Hold on, I have them on my phone. Oh. Sorry, I forgot to respond to Pat after. Thumbs up, bro. Where is my Mandalorian episode thing? So 8. There's 8 episodes. So next week we'll be halfway through. Yeah, these seemingly filler or one-off episodes, they do end up meaning something at the end of these shorter seasons. But when you have something like Bad Batch and you have 16 episodes, I think they're doing this season, and it doesn't feel like anything has happened up until episode 13, I think you are doing something wrong in your storytelling. And hey, I worship at the altar of Dave Filoni, but this just isn't doing it for me. I had similar opinions about Bad Batch season 1, to be honest. I didn't really connect with it so much. There were some cool things that came out of it, but ultimately not a story I care about. Some of the clone stuff I never really grew up thinking about or caring about. And again, this kind of ties into that whole idea of what we're looking for in Star Wars. Are we looking for, the real raw, gritty Andor stuff? Or are we looking for mythology, space battles, stuff like, or, somewhere in between? So I don't know. I'm going to finish the season of Bad Batch for sure. Don't get me wrong. I'll probably talk about it again at some point. But I'm going to do a commercial break. Oh, excuse me. Man, I'm a little tired. It was a long day of eating pizza with friends. Now, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the main subject of the episode. Who are these Oscar-winning directors that just won big this Oscar season? Do I care about Oscars? No, not particularly, but I do care about artists and art. But yeah, I'll see you guys in just a couple of seconds.
I'm Richard's Pet Wedding Facilities, and I give these stickers away at every pet wedding. The kids love them too. This bag from, what's his name? Wild Dinosaur? Weren't they all wild? What an oxymoron. Anyways, I like to put my special things in this bag. Plus, I'm pretty sure this is my spirit animal.
Life gave me lemons, so I sold them for this sweet baseball tee.
All right, don't forget to hit up wilddinosaur.com. It's the best place to support the channel. I got all kinds of cool stuff there. Even all those silly characters you saw. Dark Jon, I've met that guy once before, but he was telling me about how much he loved his baseball shirts. I love them too. Linda keeps all of her special things in her tote bags. She's got multiple of them. I'm not allowed to talk about too much of that for legal reasons. Not mine, Linda's. She's a tricky devil, that Linda. All right. So I wanted to talk about something. I wanted to talk about not the whole Oscars. Sorry, I gotta tighten this shut up again. There we go. I don't really care about talking about all the Oscars and all the winners and categories and stuff like that. I have very little. I don't care too much about award ceremonies in that regard. I do think the Oscars can be fun as a show. They've been not great for a long time, but I do think there is something endearing, I guess, about the legacy of watching the Oscars and the performances and stuff like that. That can be cool. It's just live shows like this these days that have to adhere to ratings and stuff like that. They just, I don't know. They don't always work for me. But there was a couple movies that cleaned up, actually. All Quiet on the Western Front, I think, won a few Oscars. Unfortunately, Weird, the Al Yankovic story, didn't win anything, which was complete bullshit. It was the best movie of last year, absolutely. I don't know if it got this theatrical release, so to be fair, it has to have. I think one of the rules for the Academy is it has to have shown in theaters for like 2 weeks or something like that. So, but yeah, there was another movie that I did see. I did see the Best Picture winner this year, which I'm not always the like, oh, Best Picture, I have to go see that or anything like that. But the trailers for Everything Everywhere All at Once had come out. I'd seen them, and I was like, this looks amazing. This looks really good. And then I went and saw it, and I did really like it. I thought it was a really well done movie. It's really interesting. It's quirky. It's unique. I hadn't seen really too many movies like it before. And unfortunately for Marvel, it did come out like right before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was a multiversal movie, which is also Everything Everywhere All at Once is also a multiversal movie, and they did it way better. They did it way better than Doctor Strange. For a movie called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there's one scene where he flies through multiple universes or multiverses. You know, there's one montage scene, and he goes from like animation to like yarn or paint or some shit to like all these other multiverses, and that's like it. You get two universes really, I think, that he like functions in. There's his one, and then the one with the spoiler alert Illuminati. We all saw that in the trailer. But yeah, for being this big multiversal comic book movie and being called Multiverse of Madness, it like had very little multiverse in it, and the whole point of Everything Everywhere All at Once was alternate versions and alternate choices and stuff like that, and they nailed it when it comes to the depiction of multiverse is still just a theory, but I mean, I think they've done a much better job than, a comic series where this is their bread and butter, as they do science fiction, fantasy, whatever idea comes to mind, Captain America or Iron Man or whoever else can deal with these things. That's kind of what comics are designed for. And this movie did so much better. But I wanted to talk about these two people. They've been calling them the Daniels. Now I'm going to pull up their Wikipedia page here because I want to get to know them a little bit better. These are the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's Daniel Kwan, and then there's Daniel Schneidert, collectively known as the Daniels. What Wikipedia says is they are a duo of American film directors, producers, and screenwriters. They began their career as directors of music videos, and this is why I wanted to talk about them today, because I want to make music videos. This is where I want to make my name in, a smaller, more focal, non-narrative. Well, music videos can have narrative, but they don't have to. And this is where I want to cut my teeth as a director, is in music videos. I have been doing it for myself for a couple of years. I'm trying to make more. I would love to work with other people who want music videos locally, who like what I'm doing. I would love to make music videos. And as I was realizing they were music video directors, I was like, well, who do they make music videos for? And there was one band that stuck out to me because they are one of my top 3 favorite bands. They did a video. Pat, I hope you're listening to this because you might not know this. They did a video for one of our favorite bands. And that band is Battles. They did a music video for Battles. And if you think about it for a second, it only makes sense what video they did. If you're familiar with the band Battles, they've got a bunch of videos, some really good ones. Mirrored, sorry, not Mirrored. That's the name of the first record. I always call it Mirrored because the video for it is essentially the album cover. Their first record's really good. I love their first record, but they did the music video for My Machines, which, if you're familiar with the band Battles, they were a 4-piece originally, and then they were working on their second record. Their singer left, Tyonde Braxton, who's put out some great music solo. He left the band, and so they had something that was on one of the Twilight soundtracks that was supposed to be on their second record, I think. Once Tyonde left, they scrapped that record because I think they had almost finished a record, and then they're like, well, we can't tour without our singer. And Battles is kind of a unique band, so Tyonde, I think, was kind of essential in that specific role. So what they did was they just made a new record. They made a new record, and they got a bunch of guest vocalists on. And one of those guest vocalists is Gary Newman. Big fan of Gary Newman. Gary Newman's great. What is it? Tubeway Army, his original band, and then my memory is just garbage. This is his first big record that is Cars on it, but Cars is my not my favorite Gary Newman. Film is one of my favorite Gary Newman tracks. But the video for that's really cool because it's like at a mall and there's an escalator and there's a guy like walking up the escalator and then he trips. And the whole video is him just tumbling up and down this escalator as it's moving and people are like trying to go around him and stuff. It's a really well done video. It was always kind of stressful to watch though, because you can only imagine this stunt guy who, and I think this is one of those videos that I'm not sure if it is. I don't know how they made the video, but it looks like a one take type deal. And you know that stunt guy did that for like hours and hours that day. And you think about rolling down escalator stairs, like those are metal. They got little like metal like edges and stuff like that. I'm sure he's wearing padding and stuff like that, but that dude was probably tore up, or at least his clothes in the padding at the end of the day. But yeah, I was like, they directed My Machines. That's really awesome. So I was looking at some of the other stuff they did. They did Houdini by Foster the People, and then another amazing video. This is actually, I'm not joking about this. They did the music video for "Turn Down for What" by DJ Snake and Little John, and that video is legitimately awesome. It's the whole there's like it's an apartment and there's like a party going on in one, and like the neighbors are getting pissed. It's a really great video. I remember seeing that and being like, what am I watching? And it really makes sense when I like think back at the music videos that I'd seen from them before. You know, it makes sense. Their directing style. I mean, you can see in this picture I have of them up here. This is the hot dog hands. That's a scene from. I mean, it's a part of one of the multiverses in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And just this picture, I think, it describes their art a bit. It's silly, a little bit quirky and unique. I think I've used those words already today. But there's something special about their vision and how they put things out. So as I was going through this, I was like, okay, what else do they got? I didn't realize this either. There's a movie that I had been wanting to see for a really long time, and then I finally saw it and I passed out to it. And it wasn't because it was a bad movie. It was because I just was not in the space. I was probably stoned or something. Let's be honest. I was probably like putting it on to pass out or something. And that movie, and I still need to go back to this because I find this to be one of those moments, not just for them, but for the two lead actors in this, that I was like, wait, what is this? But they directed, I think this is their first like bigger film, because I know they've done short films. Short films don't usually get listed when you have directors like this, but the music videos were awesome. They did really great music videos. But the first full length feature film that they did was Swiss Army Man. Again, another type of film that vibes with their style. I mean, I didn't know that until I was reading up on them, and I was like, that totally makes sense. You know, you get this weird movie that just wins an Oscar, and sorry, there's weird stuff in the movie. I'll not name it all, but there's some weird stuff in the movie. You can see there's people with hot dog hands in the movie, which is based off this picture they have. And Swiss Army Man definitely has a weird vibe like that, where it's a guy that, what is he? It's like Castaway, but he finds a dead body and he becomes friends with the dead body, and like, I don't know. And it's Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, and I think Daniel Radcliffe is the corpse. And it's just so weird. Like, I remember watching the trailers for Swiss Army Man, being like, this is a movie I feel like I should have made. So to be honest, they don't have a huge IMDb list of all of the films that they've done, but the stuff that they've done has been amazing. Right up my alley, to be honest. Let's see. So I'll read a couple more things here. Since 2011, the duo have directed music videos for artists including Foster the People, The Shins, and Tenacious D. In 2018, Daniel Kwan co-founded the group We Direct Music Videos, described as a global community of music video directors who are committed to sustainable directorial labor practices. That's cool. I should look into that, to be honest. Transition to film and television. In 2016, the duo expanded to feature film writing and directing Swiss Army Man, starring Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, which received positive reviews, as well as the duo winning directing award at the 2016 Sundance Film Festival. In 2019, Schneider directed the black comedy drama film The Death of Dick Long, which premiered at 2019 Sundance Film Festival and received positive reviews. The Daniels have since accumulated several television directing credits, including Aquafina is Nora from Queens, Legion. Okay, sweet. That was I liked the first season of Legion. I didn't keep going with that, but On Becoming a God in Central Florida. And the Daniels were also attached as directors on a prospective TV adaptation of Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, being developed by Noah Hawley, but the project was not picked up. So upcoming projects they have. Well, let me read this little tiny paragraph they have about Everything Everywhere All at Once. The duo announced in 2017 they would write, direct, and produce a science fiction film with their producing partner Jonathan Wang and the Russo brothers. Everything Everywhere All at Once, starring Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Su, Ki-Hugh Kwan, James Hong, and Jamie Lee Curtis, was released in March 2020 to widespread critical acclaim and box office success, garnering several awards and accolades for the duo, including Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Director at the 95th Academy Awards. Upcoming projects. As of 2022, the Daniels have signed a first-look TV deal with A24. The same year, they also signed a 5-year film deal with Universal Pictures. The Daniels were on Time 100 Next list in 2022. Then there's just some personal stuff. Kwan was born in Massachusetts, and Schneider born in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. I think this is important. In 2023, let's see. Let me go back. Kwan was born in Westboro, Massachusetts, the son of immigrants from East Asia. His father was from Hong Kong and his mother from Taiwan. He is married to fellow filmmaker and animator Kristen Lepore. Kwan was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder after researching the condition for Everything Everywhere All at Once. In 2023, he stated that he has imposter syndrome, and that is my life right there. I think I've chilled out on the ADHD stuff. I was ADD. I was diagnosed ADD when I was a kid. Hyperactivity was never a big part of that, though. So, but I think I understand. It's been a long time since I paid attention, but I think ADD and ADHD are like one and the same now. I might be wrong on that. Forgive me if that's the case. But Pat says, "Bummer, Cat's Cradle is such a great book." I never read it. I've never read much Kurt Vonnegut stuff, to be honest, because the sad truth is I just don't know how to read. No, that's not true. But I do like comic books. I do love me some books with pictures. So yeah, these are the Daniels, and I love these guys so much. After learning more about them, their art has been something that, unbeknownst to me, has been a big influential in my life. Battles is one of my favorite bands. They have informed a lot of how I make music, the way that they make music, and I remember when that My Machines video came out, I was like, this is awesome. This is a really cool video. Yeah, so like knowing that they have, they come from the music video world. Look, I'm not saying I'm getting into music videos so I can win an Oscar one day, because that's not necessarily how you go about it. Or, I mean, these guys prove this is how you can do it. But I don't know. As a director, I do have a little bit of hesitation with certain narrative stuff. But music videos, to me, are cool because you can have a short narrative. The songs that you might be making a video to are kind of dictating a little bit of a narrative for you. But visuals, like, you can do all kinds of cool visuals. And not to say I'm great with, you know, making all kinds of cool visuals. It's what I'm working on as a, you know, artist. Harrison Bergeron is also a fantastic short story. That one's really amazing. Do you mean Jonathan Bergeron? That dude. I was a fan. I was a fan of Jonathan Bergeron back in the day. Probably if anybody else is watching, Pat might be the only person who knows what I'm talking about. Rollerblader. I think he's from Canada. And I think he was like a year older than me by one day. I think, if I remember correct. I remember finding out his birthday was like a day or two before or after mine. I always like that. I was like, we homies. So yeah, these guys are super inspiring to me. They're both 35. I'm just a couple years older than them, and I feel like I failed in life. I really try not to linger on those things. Like, look at these young people doing all this cool shit that I could never accomplish, that I would love to accomplish. I try not to necessarily hold myself up in those regards, in comparison to other people like that. Although it does make me sad. I want to be friends with these guys. I really want to be friends with these guys. They seem super funny and just interesting, creative people that I highly respect, because making films is not easy. It's really not. I know. I critique movies. We all critique movies, but I think sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, a lot of work went into this. Canadian phenomenon, that Jon Bergeron. Just really impressed by these guys. But these are the Daniels. This is who the Daniels are. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schneinert. Sorry, I think I keep saying it wrong. I apologize. Schneinert. Again, I would love to hang out with these guys. Be my friends, please. I'll wear hot dog fingers for you. Yeah, I don't know. I've been going back and forth in my head about where I am as an artist, and seeing all these like other successful artists around me. Sometimes I'm just like, how I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna be able to do this. I will say the only thing you can do in these scenarios is just keep making, even if it's these conversations I have in my head, I hope are relatable to other people, where it's like, oh, this person's 26 years old and they've made $15 million off, 3 hit songs or something like that. Don't make those comparisons. I'm saying this for myself as well, too, to try to not stick in that mindset. Just make stuff. The only thing you can do to get to where you want to be is to do. And that means making mistakes. I am a failed artist until I'm not. I call myself a failed artist regularly. Pat, you've probably heard me say this, or just talk down to myself in those regards. It's maybe not the best or healthiest thing for myself, but at the same time, I am self-aware enough that you just have to do it, you know. For you, Pat, you just have to make music. There's no way that somebody can tell you how to make a good song. You have to make a bunch of shitty songs first. Same for me. I have to make a bunch of shitty music, and I have made a lot of shitty music. And films, the video stuff that I do. Most of the stuff. Look, I know I put a lot of love and effort into stuff. One of the most produced music videos I've made so far was the No Friends on This Planet video. That and Smell the Rain. Those two videos I put a lot of work into. And I love those music videos. I think I did a really good job. But at the same time, I still look at them and be like, it's been 3 years since, you know, Smell the Rain came out, or 2 years since No Friends, something like that, a year and a half, something. I could have done better. You know, there is always going to be that, but you have to do those things to get better, to see your progress happen is kind of amazing. I've taken down a bunch of music from streaming services in the past because I'm in a different place than I was 10 years ago when I was making music. And while I do still go back and listen to some of that stuff, because I think there's, for myself, I sometimes want to go back and, I'm going to take the graphic down because I'm done talking about these guys. I do want to go back and like re-record stuff. I think there's like a bunch of songs that I produced in the past that weren't like fully fleshed out, that I'm like, I could totally do something better with this. And so I'm not saying you have to go back and you know, fix all of your wrongs. You can move on with life. That's totally fine. But you know, with art, you just have to fail. And failure sounds harsh. You just have to make. And if you don't, you're not gonna see the progress, and nobody's gonna care. I mean, if you're making art and you want to share it with other people, you just have to do it. I remember hearing this. Pat might get annoyed with this story at this point, but I remember putting something out like 10 years ago, or recording something like 10 years ago, and then hearing some critiques that I didn't like about it. And you know, like things were out of time or whatever, but ultimately I learned some lessons about, you know, music production from those things. But the other part too is you sometimes have to take critiques with where the information's coming from. Like somebody's saying like, oh, well, this sounds like, but they're also a person that like put zero effort into being a creative person and trying to put stuff out. I don't discredit them, but I also don't like take full stock into like, well, my brother said this because, you know, he thinks this. Well, my brother doesn't fucking make music, you know, my brother doesn't put in the effort for this. So when those kinds of things come up, I can try to take those criticisms, and see if they are, you know, helpful. If they're not, you don't have to take them. But I remember getting mad at critiques in the past. I love critique now. I love it when people give me a critique on something, because I can learn from it, and I can either make something better, or the other option in a scenario where somebody gives me a critique is maybe they're not seeing something that I was trying to express. And so, oh, I didn't like this for this reason, and then I come in with like, oh, that's interesting. Well, my approach was this, and I did it for this reason. Then, you know, maybe the person's like, oh, okay, I get it now. I think critique's great. I love to get critiques when they're, you know, a conversation, not just like, you suck, idiot. That's not helpful to anybody, and you look stupid when you say that. I'm just throwing that out there. So anybody wants to talk shit about my art, that's fine. Just give me reasons, you know. Let's have a conversation about it, because I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm trying to make art because I have to make art in my life. But anyways, I had pizza today. Hey, I had pizza. It was delicious. I went to Toppers. I had 2 pizzas between 3 people. Anyways, yeah, that was my rant on art, I guess, which happens. The Daniels, they're awesome. I hope they see this because I want to be your friends. Not because you're Oscar winners, but because your art is awesome. But you being Oscar winners is cool. I appreciate that. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me today. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go handle my life, whatever that means. So I don't know. You guys looking forward to any of the stuff we talked about? I know Pat's bummed that we're not getting the Kurt Vonnegut adaptation, but you know what? At least they're not doing the 3-bodied problem. I'm just kidding. No, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see some footage of that whenever they got a trailer, and I'm curious how people are going to react to the 3-bodied problem. It's going to be a Netflix series, I think. There's a bunch of people in it, and it's being show run. This will be, I think, their first thing post GOT. Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones, the showrunners on Game of Thrones, are doing the 3-bodied problem. So we'll see how that goes. I'm pumped about that. I think that's an interesting story from what I know about it. I have the book. I've never gotten through it. I have so much stuff I need to read, but first I need to learn how to read. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. I don't know what Friday is looking like. I don't know if Pat wants to come on Friday or not. We'll see. I'll talk to him about that. And whoops, do I have the right? No, I don't. Thank God. Thank God. I almost went out on chestnuts. It'd be my ending music every day. Chestnuts roasting. I won't even. I shouldn't. Yeah, I don't know what Friday looks like. Fridays I like to have fun. I don't want to do new stuff. I want to hang out. So if Pat wants to come hang out, he's more than welcome to come hang out. Oh yeah, I need to get a hold of my friend Kelly too. She wanted to call in about some candy in the candy debate. There's some information that we need to talk about. I also have some small updates on the. It's been like a week or two, but I do have some small updates on the Summer Splash saga. And I can fill you guys in on that on Friday. Maybe if Pat's not here, I'll do some more live jamming or something. Yeah, so we'll see what happens on Friday. But before I get going, go follow me on. I keep doing this. I just realized I did this earlier. I was like, go to wilddinosaur.com. No, this is my Instagram handle. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I put up most of my art and video stuff. I've got these. I got some Photoshops I've been working on for a while. I've got all of these little the real histories that I've been doing that you guys have been enjoying. I've been getting some good feedback on those, so I post all that stuff up there as well. It's a little bit more. I'm active on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but Instagram is a place where I'm a little bit more active as an artist, where more stuff goes, not just video, music, and you can do stuff there. So I'm a little bit more active on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram, the Instagrams, and the Instagramps, because I'm old. Oh, woof. And then, yeah, this is right this time. Hit up wilddinosaur.com. It's really the best place to support the channel. If you guys enjoy hanging out with me weekly, I beg you. I'm on my knees. I need to get knee pads so I can do some more begging. But to afford knee pads, I need you guys to go to wilddinosaur.com and buy some clothing came off weird. No, you go to the store, there's t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweaters, zip-ups, hoodies, you know, all the fun stuff, tote bags, stickers. I also still have these sticker packs here. They're not available through the store. They're only available through me. So if you're interested in these sticker packs, here's one. I have these sticker packs. There's 5 vinyl stickers in there, $10. So if you guys are interested, I will ship those out or get them to you somehow. So hit me up for those. And what else is there? Oh, the last thing I like to do is check the description. There's a link to donate to Planned Parenthood, because Planned Parenthood is awesome. They do some really great stuff. I don't want to bore you with my interpretation of the healthcare system within American capitalism. It does not go together very well. And one of the things you can do in the United States is hit up Planned Parenthood. They do a lot of great family planning and reproductive health information. Men and women, just they're open to all. Anyways, that's it for me. I will see you guys on Friday. Peace out, Pat. I'll see you maybe Friday. Wild Dinosaur out.